Okay, so here we are on day 26, and you may have noticed that the cards have already been drawn because I pressed the button twice and stopped recording instead of starting recording, or started, stopped and started, anyway, whatever. So I'm not going to do them again. I'm quite tired. I'm not going to do the whole, I mean, there's no point. I'll just go with the flow. I kind of like doing them on camera, even though it's annoying, the clipping and all the shuffling, but I do tend to, I've learned how to speed up that bit now. So sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it makes the whole video go manky. But my hands are full of thorns. I've been up in my, I'm trying to cultivate a kind of woodland area, and I've been up there pulling out all the bramble, the young bramble. I didn't plan to go up there, but I needed some air. I've been feeling just not well, very unwell today, and tired. And I think it's because when we got that death card on Thursday, and I was talking about, that had been, I think, the 24th, I was talking about apathy, lethargy and tiredness, and one side of it, the little sleep. I didn't sleep at all that night. Literally, I did not go to sleep all night. You know, it gets to a point where you think, oh, I'm going to get up and make a cup of tea. So, and yesterday I was fine, but, and I went all day looking after the kids and everything, but now today I feel really bad, so not good at all. Anyway, I went out to try and feel a bit better, and it was getting stormy and rainy out there, and that kind of usually energizes me, whereas the sun does the opposite. And I went up to this woodland area, and I just started, and I had my old ancient Crocs on that have got no tread left, that I wear as house-like slippers. But I started pulling up the little tiny bramble shoots that I've got to chop down in the winter, and trying to give the native trees, seedlings, a chance to grow and get rid of the bramble. So at the moment, every time I see a little bit shoot up, because it's the beginning of the season, I try and root it out. But I didn't have any tools with me. I just do it randomly, and hurt my arm, and I've got my whole feet were full of thorns, and my hands, because all the thorns went straight into my Crocs. I just had to dig them all out. What an idiot. Anyway, we've got the Page of Rings, which is the Page of Pentacles from the Lord of the Rings deck. That's our tarot card, which I'm trying hard to make stay up so you can see it, because I've got a funny angle going on. And from the saltwater cards, we got Oyster. Funnily, because I was talking about thorns in my foot, and never ever walk barefoot on oyster shell beaches. It is absolutely awful. They cut through your skin and they embed. I've had very, very bad experiences of that. When I was foolish, thinking, you know, yeah, I'll go midnight skinny dipping at 3 o'clock in the morning, and this was years ago in New Zealand, but, you know, I mean, I was an adult, I should have known better. And, oh man, the next day my feet were shredded. It was horrible. They go everywhere. But I did find a way to, what I did, I read online that you can make a poultice. I tend to go to old remedies first for everything, and I've always done that and had that kind of faith in myself to do that, even when my kids were little. And I used homeopathy and things, and I always pick herbs out of the garden and wild stuff, and make sure it's safe for, like, you know, for my tea and stuff. But the poultice I made, it was brown sugar, and so just like hand soap, not jelly soap, not the stuff you squirt out of a bottle, but the other soap. Just kind of get a mixture of that and kind of sog it down a bit in hot water, and then mix it with brown sugar, and then you spread it on your feet thickly, or wherever the load of all the prickles are, and then it's warm, and then you wrap it up. I wrapped it up in a hot cloth, like a flannel, and then tinfoil, and then a plastic bag, and I left it for a couple of hours, and I'm not kidding, it worked. All those little tiny bits of shell came out, and my feet were just like almost as good as new. It was incredible. So there's a tip. Get everything here, the good, the bad, and the stupid. Anyway, so I've just read comments. Oh my goodness, I love you guys so much, and I've got so many great ideas about what to do, and it seems that people here are happy for me to carry on with this one channel and just be me, So rather than have one of those niche things, which I'm very reluctant to do, the niche will be me, and all the things, because everything I do is quite holistic. It all comes together. My mental health, my books, the tarot, it's all me. I'm just that one person that flows a bit into everything, like a river, you know. So rivers don't chop themselves off and make a new river. They flow out into little streams and little currents, and they end up in the sea. So yes, that's me. That's what I'm doing. I'm a big river with lots and lots of little streams, or a little river with lots and lots of little streams and creeks, and maybe the odd waterfall, you never know. So thank you for that, for the input, because I really value your comments. I value so much when people take time to comment and you know that they've actually watched, because it's so much, it makes a huge difference. I think you're talking to someone out there. And I think just about every subject I've talked about, someone has commented about it. And it means so much to me, because I feel like I really am talking to someone and it is making a little difference. And you make a difference to me, which I think I've said before. I couldn't do this without that flow between us. It's a flow. It is a flow. And your comments and being there feed me and give me ideas. So I've got lots of ideas for videos. And I said this last week, I need to write them down. I'm going to get I've got a old Hobonichi, which I ordered by accident. I think it's from my daughter. I ordered the wrong one anyway. A week's one. And I'm going to get that, and I'm going to use it as my little YouTube channel, journal and ideas. And I might set that up in a video, because when I've done 30 days, people ask me, am I going to keep going? I am. But I'm not going to be doing a video every day, obviously, but I am going to be more thoughtful. Well, I try to be thoughtful. I'm actually off the cuff. My videos this 30 days have been completely off the cuff. None of them have been planned. I think only one of them, when I planned and went to the sea, but other than that, they haven't been planned. They've all just been me rambling about the cards. And it's been really good. But I'm going to sort of, there's things people have asked me about, and I'm going to write all these ideas down. I want to do more book videos, that's for sure. That'll be a regular thing. I could start different playlists of things. And Dawn asked me about astrology. So I'm going to do some astrology videos. And Dawn asked me about this book that I talked about. Well, I lost it, and I just found it a couple of days ago. This is a book that's really good. When I first started learning about astrology and tarot, I did it mainly via the Thoth Tarot, because it's got a lot of the astrological associations. I rarely use that deck, but it's a good one for learning the astrology, because the associations are given for all of the cards. And that's not always the case. I've got a few decks that I love with the astrological symbols on them, and I really appreciate that in decks. But this book I've got here came out in, it's not that old. Well, most of my tarot books are quite old, so this one is newer. Oh, it's 2012, okay. No, 2011, I think. 2011. So it's called Tarot and Astrology, and it's by Corinne Kenner. Corinne Kenner's really good. She does some really good tarot books. So I highly recommend that if you're into the astrology and tarot, because it's set out in a very kind of simple way. Every card, once you learn to do it, all the cards have got their correspondences, and it's really good. I lost it, as I said, but I use it. I've got a wheel. I've lost my wheel too. I have my astrological wheel that I always use, but I put that somewhere, and I've shown you that before. But as I said, I don't know all of the astrological associations for the cards. I know a lot of them. But once you know the basic ones that go with the signs, then you can work out the decans. And I know that sounds like gobbledygook, so I'll shut up. But that is a really good book. So Tarot and Astrology by Corinne Kenner. I'm pretty sure it will still be in print. And it's only came out like 14 years ago. And I think all her books are probably still in print. She's written a few. So that one I was going to show for Dawn, but I highly recommend it. And that's one thing I'm going to start doing more videos about. I'm going to start talking about astrology in a very small way, and then slowly grow. I don't actually know a lot. It sounds like I know a lot. And sometimes you start to collect knowledge and you don't realise that you're building on it, and then it's becoming part of your part of your language. So it is like learning a language, and you don't actually realise that you're getting more and more fluent in that language, but other people, I guess, do. So for me, astrology has been like that for years. I mean, I've gone full on, and then I was trying to explain in one of the comments how I get to a point when I'm learning, I'll learn so much, and then I cannot go any further until I really can hold and feel it and know it and completely understand it. I cannot go ahead. My brain just slams the brakes on, and that's it. I mean, sometimes I'll speed ahead with something, like go really full on until I hit the brick wall. But then I stop and I make myself learn that concept, because I can't do anything in a shallow way. It's all got to be, deep. Like if someone tries to explain something to me. I'm very, very much a bottom-up thinker, not a top-down thinker. So I need to know from the seed to the tree. I can't look at the tree and work my way back to the seed. My brain doesn't work that way. But I will talk about astrology and how I learn it and how I've learned it. And also, was asked about one of the decks I used, the Ad Orbiter Tarot, and how the guidebook is quite vague. I mean, I was reading the poems out to you, and I'm going to do a video on how I approach those really difficult decks like that are kind of more obtuse, not so... I mean, that deck with the illustrations and the poetry, you really have to think quite a lot laterally to get it. I mean, I gave a few ideas when I was using it last week when we had it as a deck, but I'm going to go more in depth with that one. And how I do approach a deck like that. Because if you really, really like a deck, but you can't use it, like you might love it for the art, but you can't use it, then I'm just trying to look at things like that. And I got my head around that Poet Tarot with a suit on it. I mean, even though I just used the book for that was amazing. But as I said, the artwork wasn't a fan really, not just because of the odd suit, but... So, enough rambling. We've got the Page of Rings, and he's the Ent. He's the entry. I think is he called Quickbeard? Quickbeard? I have to have a look. I haven't looked at the entries yet. But this made me think. So the Page of Pentacles, this will be, is the learning guy. He's kind of like a mini version of the Ace of Wands, but he's not, like, he has to keep going, but he's got to be practical. He's got to put his stuff to practical use. So he's using, like, knowledge, but he's like the practical, the earthy, because Page of Pentacles is all the earth signs. So he's got to he's got to use his earthly knowledge. And this card, though, made me think, I told you the story of my speakers yesterday. Well, the rocks here made me think, the grey boxy looking, especially that one, made me think of my speakers being on the way out, like he's treading on them, like the person in the death card and the foot. I found out something more about that too, I've got to tell you. And the sun up here is like my new camera, and my hand is out ready to get it. Oh, and Dawn said that when I did the TP video on the beach, one of the sticks looked like a hand holding it up, so I've got to go and find that picture. So thank you for that, Dawn. So yeah, that made me think of my old speakers, and crazy, eh? My brain. Oh my goodness. I'm going to talk about my brain too. I'm going to talk about autism and what it's like. And another reason, when I used to talk about the Deviant Moon deck a lot and why I loved it, and I've made videos about it. But one reason I never shared, because at the time I wasn't really accepting this thing, was the masks. The masks are so like me. I connected to that deck immediately because all of the characters have their masks. Let me get the Page of Pentacles out of this deck, because when we were talking about the Death card the other day, I'm going to show you another book in a minute. I read that because the Death card was associated with the end of the Zodiac, so which is Pisces, the last sign of the Zodiac. The first sign is Aries, and the foot. So the foot on a Death card is the part of the body represented by Pisces. So I was kind of interested in that, because I don't think I realised that before. And I've got to find my page here, because He's I should have found the Deviant Moon book again and brought it back. I was using it as a prop for my tripod because it's a nice big book. And that's a great book. We waited many, many years for that book. Remember, kids? There's my lovely Page of Wands. I do like the Page of Wands, the one he's like skating on the ice pond. I should use this deck again. Oh no, I really love the Four of Wands. Look at that house. What a house. Here he is, the Page of Pentacles. So he's got his pentacle. It looks like he's just thinking, I always like the factory in the background, like my little witch. And he's got odd feet. And like he's like self-made. So he's like he's built himself, but he hasn't quite finished. And so he's growing. He's at a stage of growing and using what he can. And his brain's going a bit crazy because he's got steam coming out there. But he's got a grasp on it. He's got this big spanner to mend himself. So he's got the tools he needs for this journey. And he's rejecting the things he doesn't need and making mistakes along the way. And I really like it as a kind of learning journey. And there's a few of the pentacles that are like that. The 7, you know, seeing how far you've come. Then there's the 3, which is the creativity and the other people coming in. And then you've got the 8, when you're getting sort of to be the master. But it's the beginning of a journey. It's growth, it's new growth, it's building something. And staying on point, a bit like that Ace of Wands. So there's our Page of Pentacles. Funny how I managed to sneak the Deviant Moon in, isn't it? Right, now I'll read you what the guidebook says about Ent here. I'll find Ent's name. Now, where on earth? Oh, because it's, yeah, rings. So rings. Quick Beam. I did get the name right. I thought it was called Quick Beam. So, make sure there's no candles there. I don't know if you can see that. Quick Beam. The most action-oriented of the Ents. Quick Beam mirrors the Page of Rings with his decisive mind. Similarly, you know what you want and you are ready to make it happen. With vigilance comes victory, but you must be prepared to work at your fullest potential. That's true. And then the reverse, because I very rarely use reversals, because for me it's a kind of a flow. So you can tell by the energy or the neighbouring cards or the story or the energy of the whatever it's relating to. I don't think you need reversals because it's all together. So this reverse one says you may find yourself lost and adrift, wanting to retreat deeper into the Fangorn forest, but don't uproot just yet, unless you're a bramble. Sure, nothing is going according to plan, but it's worth exploring how you can grow from this setback. So that's that's a reverse, a positive, what I call a positive reversal, negative side. And that's just how I see that card. So that's pretty cool. I'm happy with that. Too bad if I'm not. But, oh, look. Ink, Quick Beam, buddy. I just found you the perfect little prop. See if it works. Put it that way. Woohoo, look at that. Da-da. Oh my goodness. And now we've got our oyster. So there's the oyster. And the oyster is investment. Now this is talking about investing time and stuff in learning and growing. And then we get the oyster for investment. It was crazy. And let's have a look at this one. I'll put a little other page there. Oh, well, he's fallen down. I should have brought my little easels out. Okay, what did I say? Oyster, 19. I guess they've got to invest a lot of time, haven't they, to grow their little pearl. So I can see how they get investment from that. And this channel is my little pearl, my little oyster. No, I'm the oyster, I guess. The pearl is the channel. Oh, they've got a mangrove card in here. I wish I'd have got that one. I like mangroves. We might have to have, if we don't get the mangrove card in the next 2 days, then we might have to have an honorary mangrove card, because I want to read about the mangroves, because I strongly related to mangroves when I first moved to New Zealand. And I lived on a mangrove swamp. And I actually did a massive painting, which I don't even have a photograph of mangroves, which I gave to someone who fell in love with it. Oysters are mollusks which attach themselves to rigid surfaces where they spend their entire life. A group of oysters is often called an oyster bed or reef. They filter feed by beating water over their gills using the tiny hairs that line the entrance to their shell. Sometimes a pearl can form when a tiny irritant attaches itself to the mantle of the oyster. The same compound that creates the oyster's shell the same compound that creates the oyster shell's inner lining slowly covers this irritant. It will take many years before enough layers of this compound are laid down to create a pearl. Oysters can also benefit the waterways that they live in by improving the water quality and clarity. Oysters remind us of the value of investment, of truly committing to and believing in something enough that you will give it your time, attention or material assistance. The oyster can show up when you are considering big investments of your time, money or resources, like buying your first home or car, entering a deep level of commitment in a relationship, or possibly even raising a family. Or you may be thinking of buying a new camera. Ta-da. I made that up. Whatever it is, it will take a lot of time and an honest commitment, but the oyster is here to assure you that the investment will be worth it. Because they spend their entire life in the same spot, the oyster is also connected to commitment and reminds you of the longevity of true commitment. Oysters encourage you to look at what or where you could invest your time, money or resources at the moment, and now allow for the time needed to see your investment come to maturity. That is good. Brilliant. What a brilliant card to get with the Page of Wands. I mean the Page of Pentacles. And at this point in time, that is my speakers, I know it is. And this is really cool about the way the oyster, the pearl is formed by an irritant, by something that, you know, a stranger. And it's so true. It like you can, something that really is like starts off as a little bad thing or that bugs you can become a good thing. That's how I came back to YouTube. It was a little tiny nagging thing inside me that really wanted to do it again. And it started so small and it just grew. And after it took a few months, and my friend Carol nudged me along, kind of saying you can do it. And now it's just amazing again. But I really, really love the cards today. And I'm sorry I'm so tired. I haven't, as I said, I lost that whole night's sleep, and tonight I've got to catch up on it. And it has been pretty full on. But I want to show you another book. Now this is one of my favourite tarot books. It's an old book. It came out, I had it before I had children, and I think it came out at the end of the 80s. And it's called Living the Tarot by Amber Jayanti. Now, it only deals with the majors, but I think it's absolutely brilliant. It's one of the books that I did lose it for a lot. I can remember when I first got it, it was one of the best tarot books. I didn't have that many at the time. I had the Alfred Douglas one, which I've got full of all these clippings. It must be when I was really little, from Mum's old magazines, and it's so nostalgic. It's got these really old 70s like magazine clippings stuck in it. Applying an ancient oracle to the challenges of modern life. I don't know if this book is still in print. But, so Introduction to Living with the Tarot. They go through every one of the major cards. As you go through the book. So we've got the Fool will be at the beginning there. And they give you like general information and symbolism. It talks about the picture of the card. It talks about different things and symbols and where they came from and all the different associations. I was reading about the Death card. It actually just happened to open up on Death card. I was nearly there. Which was kind of funny, as we were talking about that the other day. And that's when I found about the... Here we go. So there's the diagram. And it talks about the Grim Reaper, the old symbol of death, clearing the fields of life, the white flower, which I can't see that on this card. That was on the Rider-Waite, on the black flag. But the Rider-Waite one is like the House of York, the War of the Roses, I think. That's what it looks like to me. And it tells you about... There's a bit about the foot. Oh, here we go. Terms such as passing on, crossing over, and life's last great journey are often used to refer to death. A foot rests on the earth to show that the soul has moved onwards. The foot alludes to the Kabbalistic function of motion assigned to this card. It is the unstoppable forward motion of life that bears all to death. Because the astrological sign of Pisces rules the feet, the foot also suggests the passing or death of the present age of Pisces, in contrast to the Piscean age, wherein power has been garnered through limited knowledge, fear, control of others and greed. The Aquarian age will be a time when power will come through knowledge, open-mindedness, trust, self-control and humanitarianism. Well, I still don't know when the age of... I don't think anyone tends to agree of when the age of Aquarius begins, or has it begun, or when it began. But I wonder what it would have to say if they knew all about AI. But that is interesting, and also, as I said, to me, it's because Pisces is the last sign of the zodiac, and then we start again, so it's the end of the year. But as I said, it's more of a study book. It's not lightweight, but you can use it as a reference book. You don't have to read into it and get really into it. And that's an old book, as I said. I found that book really, really valuable. All of my life for the last, what is it, 30 odd years, 35, 38 years since I would have been reading it. So I really recommend that. Okay, I better shut up now. I've got a cup of tea. It's just mint and my mug. See the upside. And hopefully I'll be a bit more energetic tomorrow. But like I said, I'm going to do more videos. Definitely going to do more videos about different things. I'm probably plan a bit more. I'll always be off the cuff. I'm never going to be someone who can script or write script, because I can't do that. But it did make me think I want to show you around the garden. When I get that camera, I want to show you around the garden and show you little bits of my house, because it's very important to me. And my house is kind of like one giant living altar. It is. It's like, I don't actually have one set altar. The whole house is like an altar. I've got a little bookcase behind me, and it's got my little England shelf on it with my double-decker bus and my London Starbucks mug and an old English oak tree and a telephone box and, you know, stuff like that. And then I've got my Samuel Palmer paintings, which are amazing, and plants everywhere, and just got little collections of things. And I've got a room, a library, where I keep all my art my kids have made and stuff. It's just a little like landing room. But yeah, I want to share it because it's kind of cool. So there we go. More to come. And this is day 26. I've got 4 days to go. So we'll see you on day 27. Okay. Thank you again. Thanks for the comments. Keep them coming. Bye.